Background information. Seamus Heaney is widely recognized as one of the major poets of the 20th century. A native of Northern Ireland, Heaney was raised in County Derry and later lived for many years in Dublin. He was the author of over 20 volumes of poetry and criticism, and edited several widely used anthologies. He won the Nobel Prize for Literature in 1995. Heaney taught at Harvard University and served as the Oxford Professor of Poetry. He then died in 2013. Overall meaning and relation with theme. The early poem Midterm Break was written by Heaney following the death of his young brother, killed when a car hit him in 1953. The main themes are death and family grief. The title suggests that this might be a poem about a holiday, a chance to get away from school, work, and relax. Instead, we're gradually taken into the grieving world of the first-person speaker, and the seriousness of the situation soon becomes clear. The structure of the poem Midterm Break is basically of a set of tercets finished off with a single line, as if underlining everything that has gone before. It uses iambic pentameter throughout the poem and uses dashes and other punctuation to slow and pause what happens next. Setting. In the start of the poem, the persona describes the setting, his college, with the word sick. This gives a negative connotation to the setting. Then, they go to the porch, and at the end, the persona goes to the room to see his brother. Both settings have a negative connotation because in the porch, the family is crying because of the death, and in the room, the persona is sad to see his brother's death. Atmosphere and mood. There is a somber tone, like dark, because of the death of his brother. Although Seamus does not use as many negative words to represent how dark the situation is. Instead, he just says the things that happen chronologically without showing the mood of the characters. Even though Seamus uses words like crying to represent the character's feeling, and this contributes to a negative atmosphere. Choice of words. The persona uses some hard words such as knocked to create an impact to the reader about the situation, in this case describing how the car hit his brother. In the first stanza, he uses words like kneeling and tolling, describing the bells, which gives negative connotations of death. The second stanza uses words like crying to represent how devastating the death was for the family. In the seventh stanza, Heaney uses the word gaudy to describe that the car knocked the kid in a clean way without leaving scars.
I sat all morning in the college sickbay counting bells, nailing classes to a close. At 2 o'clock our neighbors drove me home. In the porch I met my father crying. He had always taken funerals in his stride, and Big Jim Evans saying it was a hard blow. The baby cooed and laughed and rocked the pram when I came in, and I was embarrassed by old men standing up to shake my hand and tell me they were sorry for my troubles. Whispers informed strangers I was the eldest, away at school as my mother held my hand in hers and coughed out angry tearless sighs. At 10 o'clock the ambulance arrived with the corpse, stanched and bandaged by the nurses. Next morning I went up into the room. Snowdrops and candles soothed the bedside. I saw him for the first time in 6 weeks, paler now, wearing a poppy bruise on his left temple. He lay in the 4-foot box as in his cot. No gaudy scars, the bumper knocked him clear. Our 4-foot box, a foot for every year.
Knelling classes is an onomatopoeia. Knelling is a sound made by a bell rung slowly, especially for a death or funeral. The baby cooed and laughed and rocked the pram. The words and create a polysyndeton, that is because he is rushing. Sorry for my trouble, it is an euphemism. It is what normally people say to the family who has lost someone. It shows pity for what has happened. He lay in the 4-foot box as in his coat. This is a simile that compares as if he was sleeping in the box, but he really is dead. A 4-foot box, a foot for every year. Here we can see alliteration of the F letter, repetition of the word foot, and assonance of the letter O. This emphasizes the age when Seamus Heaney's brother died. The words clear and near are end rhyme, and this brings closure to the poem.